you can't see my face because I have got that positioned wrong. Okay, all sorted. I was going to try and make this video as a walk and talk video, and me being the very stupid person I am, put my hand over the microphone. Like, well done, Hannah. What a rookie error that one is. Okay, so I'm going to make the video now, not as a walk and talk, in my usual boring background. And today I'm going to be talking about why you shouldn't tell people they are too thin. Okay, I feel like it is widely accepted not to tell people they're too fat. You know, it is widely accepted in today's society that telling people they're fat is discrimination. Telling people they're fat is completely disrespectful and it's completely wrong. But I don't really feel the same applies with telling people they're too thin. And I think it is a real problem. I mean, because people can be thin for a variety of reasons, okay? They could have an eating disorder, they could be naturally skinny, or they could have Crohn's disease or cancer or some other disease that means that they are thin. And if this person is thin because they have a disorder of some kind, like a disease, or if they're just genetically thin, they're probably going to be very uncomfortable about being thin. They might think they're like too thin, and telling someone they're too thin when they're already uncomfortable about being too thin isn't gonna help anything. It's not gonna make anyone feel any better about themselves. It's just not gonna solve any issues, and it's just completely disrespectful. And we should just like learn to accept people's bodies as what they are and stop thinking people have to be within like a certain size. They have to be within this very small, minute category of like the perfect body, otherwise they're too fat or they're too thin. And you know, we shouldn't call people out on being too thin unless we know there's a reason for it. Like, you don't just go around telling people they're too thin, because it can be really, really hurtful. And telling someone with an eating disorder they're too thin, I mean, it's just as bad as telling someone without an eating disorder they're too thin. I mean, maybe it's even worse in some cases because of how that eating disordered person may react. I mean, this person with an eating disorder, upon being told they are too thin, could either take it as a compliment. I mean, I've been told I was like so incredibly skinny before and took it as a compliment, and it could make their eating disorder worse, or it could just make them more fixated on their body and make their eating disorder worse. They might just think you're jealous of them and it'll make their eating disorder worse. Like, there's no good outcome of calling someone too thin. There is no good outcome on commenting on people's body types in any way. And I understand commenting on people's body types, you know, calling people too thin or too fat could come from a place of concern, and in which case that concern needs to be expressed in a better way than saying you're too thin or you're too fat. It needs to be expressed in a way that shows that you care about the person, and shows that you want to help the person, and shows that you want to understand what's really going on with the person, rather than just making comments about how people are too thin, because it just doesn't help. It doesn't solve anything. Commenting on people's weights, body shapes and sizes, no matter what body shape, weight or size they are, is not okay, and it needs to stop. I mean, I'm someone who has been bullied for being fat, and I've also been called too thin a lot of too thin. Like, I've had it both ways, and I'm gonna tell you right now that both ways hurt just as much when you're not in like that eating disordered mindset. Both ways can be just as damaging to a person. Like, calling me too thin when I was deeply anorexic, you know, told me I should continue being deeply anorexic. Calling me too fat before I was anorexic told me I should be anorexic. Like, commenting on people's body types isn't acceptable, and it just needs to end, okay? Because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't get anyone anywhere. It shows a lack of respect for a person, and there is more to everyone. There are more to people on this earth than their weight. We need to start valuing people as more than just their bodies, as more than what they just look like. We need to value people for who they are. We need to value people for their personalities. We need to value people for how kind they are. We need to value people for their talents. There's so much available about a person that we could value about them, but as a society we need to nitpick and comment on weight a lot of the time. I mean, I know at least my family do like to comment on like people's weights, like when they see like random strangers, they'll be like, oh, that person's a bit fat, or that person could do with eating a proper meal. Like, there are better things to do with your time and better things to value people on. I mean, my parents, like my mum even said I was too thin the other day. I mean, you don't tell that to your daughter, and you don't say it in a way that seems insensitive. You, like, if you want to bring it up, you need to say it in a way that sounds like it's coming from a place of concern, because otherwise it's not going to help anyone. And if I was relapsing into my eating disorder, it wouldn't have solved anything. And actually, even though I'm not relapsing, that comment about my body has made me a lot more conscious of my body and the way my body looks, and actually has kind of put me on a bit of like an awkward, tricky situation with regard to like pushing myself over like a certain number of calories if I was to have the appetite to do so. Like, and I was okay with going over that number of calories the other day. It was literally this comment which, set me off, I guess, and like led to my brain being all messy and like giving me more stuff to deal with in my head, which really isn't needed. And this is why I think we need to be more sensitive and more careful when commenting on people's body types and weights and shapes, and if possible don't do it at all. Like, the subject matter should just be left alone, because it's none of anyone's business how you look aesthetically. It's no one's business how much you weigh, just as it's no one's business whether you have straight teeth or not, or whether you have a big nose, or whether you have nice lips or nice eyes or nice hair. Like, it's just, we need to stop commenting on bodies and body size and body shape, because it's harmful and it doesn't help anyone. Okay, and I will see you in my next video. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and follow me on all my other social medias. Links will be down in the description.